So, are you struggling with sleep? Yeah, you're definitely not alone. Today, we're going to tackle one of the biggest and, honestly, most stressful beliefs out there about our health. I'm talking about that obsession with getting a perfect 8 hours of sleep. All right, let's just jump right in with a question that, ironically, might keep you up at night. Is that golden 8-hour rule, you know the one, is it really helping you get the rest you need? Or could it actually be the thing that's causing all your sleep anxiety in the first place? So first up, let's just dismantle this thing. We're going to take a really close look at the most widespread myth about sleep and see what the science actually has to say about it. I mean, listen to this. That's a pretty powerful statement from sleep scientist Marine Vondelar. What he's saying is that this piece of advice we hear everywhere. It has basically zero connection to our own biology, to our natural rhythms. And this belief, it just creates so much pressure, right? We start spinning out with these negative thoughts. Oh no, if I don't get my 8 hours, tomorrow is going to be a total disaster, or I'm literally damaging my health. And the irony, the real kicker, this whole cycle of worry is the very thing that makes it so much harder to fall asleep and stay asleep. And get this, if you're not getting 8 hours, you're not just in good company, you're actually in the majority. Yeah, look at the data. Around 60% of adults get less than 7 hours of sleep. So this whole idea that everyone else is out there getting a perfect 8 hours every single night, it's a total myth. This is why the shoe size analogy is so perfect. Think about it. Just like a shoe that's too big or too small is going to cause problems, the same goes for sleep. It's not about some universal number that fits everyone. It's all about finding the right fit for you. Okay, so if chasing a number isn't the goal, then what is? What should we even be focusing on? Well, it all comes down to this: quality over quantity. And this brings up a really key distinction we have to make. On one side, you've got objective sleep. That's the raw data, what your fancy sleep tracker tells you. But then there's subjective sleep, and that's just how you feel. How rested and ready for the day do you actually feel? And you know what? For your actual well-being, that feeling is almost always what matters most. This is such a fascinating look into what it's like to have insomnia. So many people who really struggle are objectively getting more sleep than they realize. The problem is it's so broken up, so fragmented, that their brain just doesn't register it as real sleep. It perceives all those little chunks as just being awake and tossing and turning. And you know what? This anxiety we have around waking up at night, it's a modern problem. It's not some universal human thing. I mean, if you look at hunter-gatherer societies like the Hadza, waking up in the middle of the night is totally normal for them. The big difference? It's not that they sleep perfectly through the night. It's their attitude. They don't panic. They have something called restful wakefulness. It just goes to show you, waking up isn't the problem. It's the anxiety about waking up that's the real issue. And that anxiety, well, that's the fuel for what we're about to talk about next, the vicious cycle of insomnia. Let's break down exactly how trying harder to sleep can actually make everything so much worse. Okay, so here's the paradox laid out perfectly. It all starts with that anxiety, right? I'm not going to get enough sleep. So what do? You spend more time in bed trying to catch up. But here's the twist. Just lying there awake actually lowers your body's natural drive to sleep. And with less of that drive, your sleep gets lighter, more broken, which of course just makes you even more anxious. And boom, the cycle starts all over again. So, if trying harder is actually the problem, then what in the world is the solution? I'll tell you, it sounds completely backward at first, but trust me, it's incredibly powerful. The entire idea hinges on a concept called sleep pressure. The easiest way to think about it is like a natural built-in sleepiness timer. The longer you're awake, a chemical called adenosine builds up in your brain. The more of that you have, the stronger your drive to sleep becomes. And this right here is probably the single most important takeaway of this whole thing. To get better, deeper, more solid sleep, you might need to spend less time in bed. I know, it sounds absolutely crazy, but by restricting your time in bed, you allow that sleep pressure to build up really high, and that's what helps you fall asleep faster and stay asleep. So really, this is about a whole new mindset. The goal is to completely stop judging your night by a number on a clock. Instead, you're going to measure your success by how you feel and function the next day. You do this by building up that sleep pressure, often by reducing your time in bed so it more closely matches the time you're actually sleeping. When you do that, you fall asleep faster, your sleep is deeper, it's less fragmented, and you start to retrain your brain that bed is for sleeping, not for worrying. So let's just end on this thought. What if rest isn't something you have to chase? What if it's not something you have to hunt down and force? What if it's really just about allowing it to happen? Letting go of the struggle and just creating the right conditions for it to find you.
喜欢这种学习方式，欢迎订阅我的频道，让我们一起用下一个10分钟，把商业英文变简单。